The ex-housekeeper, awesome Jeff.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. What's up, Insiders? What's up, everybody? I hope you guys are having a blessed day and week. And, man, it's been a great one, been a busy one. Before we get going, actually, we have to congratulate Alex Dingman on finally getting the Super Bowl right. We didn't even talk about that in the pre-show, but yeah. Yo, 21, 22 years straight of predicting the Super Bowl wrong. And then now you finally did it.
I don't know if I should be. I almost think I would have preferred it if I just kept the losing streak going, because at least I'm consistent on something. You know, think about it. As competitors and as martial artists, that's what we want, is consistency.
Right.
So let me just be consistent in this thing. But no, it was cool. I picked the Chiefs. The Chiefs won. I didn't obviously have a dog in the fight. And in sincerity, I don't watch the NFL or pay attention to it in as close detail. It's not like I didn't know all the people that are there. I don't have to watch it to not know all the details. Of course, I know it.
Right.
And you know what I think it was, though, Jeff? And then we can move on. I think the starting point for me, when I really started realizing, like when I started being like, okay, I'm not going to invest all this energy into sports like this, although there's a movie quote that I have that's very important to that, is the reason why. But so there's a buddy of mine who played tight end in the league, right? And he played tight end in the NFL. I mean, and then he was in the NFL for like 8 years. Okay. And he bounced around, started at tight end, and after the year started going, he stayed in the league as a long snapper. And he goes, oh yeah, if someone had the physical body and skills, like I could coach them to stay in the league. If they just wanted to be in the league,
yeah,
every team needed a long snapper, yada, yada, yada. Like, oh, that was interesting. And then when we started talking about football, and he's like, he kindly said, you have no idea what the hell you're talking about, right? Number one, he's coming into it from the pros perspective, from the actual player's perspective.
Right.
But then the other thing is, then I started realizing, like, I didn't know what the difference was between a Mike linebacker and a Will linebacker and a Sam linebacker. Like, I didn't know what those were.
Yes.
Right. And he goes, just because you're a linebacker doesn't mean you can play the Mike. And I'm like, what the hell is that?
What is that? Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, some they're all pro linebackers that just suck at playing the Mike. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. So then and then the detail into it, I'm like, this is just not for me, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. All right. So but you know what? It was cool. It's kind of like people who would watch our sport and be like, see, told you, if you kick, you're going to win. Like, don't, right. I can't get out of here.
Yeah.
I can't hear that. You have no idea what you're talking about. Kicks aren't working. You just got to go to punching. Like, stop. You have no clue what you're talking about. It doesn't have anything to do with either of those things.
Right.
So it was kind of the same thing when I realized me talking about football like that to him. That's kind of how he looked at me like that. And I was like, this game's not for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chiefs won.
Yeah.
Don't have any emotion in it. Because as long as I've been alive, the Vikes have never been in the Super Bowl. I've been alive. This is going to be 42 years. And they've never been in the Super Bowl.
That's
since
crazy.
I've been alive.
That's crazy.
At least your team's been in the Super Bowl since you've been alive.
Yeah, 2001, 2002, and then
and I picked them,
obviously. But the last time that they won, I think it was like the year I was born. So
no, it was before you, because they won in 81. Yeah, the Oakland Raiders won in 1981 with John Madden.
Yes. All right. So where are we at here? Oh, all right. So
rambled.
We're just.
I did.
All right. So So it was a great time. Yes, the Vikings suck. Go Bears. Anyways, go out and check out mainnetwork.shop to get your shirts and support us. Also, go to patreon.com/main network the same
Yep.
way. We're putting out more and more content. Have some extra stuff coming for
Yeah,
you
we got
guys.
some new stuff on the way.
Yep, and we also are check out our YouTube channel as we have more and more fights coming up on our YouTube channel.
Word.
So check that out as we have individual fights, individual forums. So the main gang is definitely busy right now. So we are enjoying it. As you guys see, Virtual Fight Tour is our sponsor. We had a great grudge match pay-per-view 2 weeks ago, and looking forward to seeing what is next with Virtual Fight Tour. So I know that they are going to be doing the VFT, the overall where you take the heavyweight versus the last man standing. Yep, last man standing at several events. So make sure you check that out and see. I know one of those will be another sponsor of Martial Arts Center Network, Ocean State Grand Nationals. So Ocean State Grand Nationals, March 31st, April 1st, and April 2nd. I really love how last week they were on the show, which is a great show. I really got to know them better, just like how much. Yes, if you were in this for so long, you love the sport, right? But just the way that they talked about it, the different details the different things that maybe they focus on that others don't, which was really cool, So go out and support this event. They are putting up the money. They are taking that step to get something going with the TV in their local area. And what's cool is that their local area loves the show. They saw a lot of great results from the 4 episodes they put out last year. So they're excited to do it again this year. So really cool stuff. We're going to talk about, do we want to go ahead and say, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Ocean States, and then we'll get into some other stuff while we're on it, right?
I'm trying to remember, since we were talking about Ocean State, who was last year's last man standing? Because there were so many.
Elijah.
And that was one of the interesting things that Don and Christina were talking about, was that there's going to be a team fighting champion, right?
Yep.
There's going to be an open weight champion. There's going to be a lightweight champion. There's going to be a heavyweight champion, and there's going to be a last man
standing. And then there's also the super fight champion.
And there's a super fight champion.
Yeah. So yep. So it's definitely lots going on. Last year, the super fight champion was Avery. Avery won the super fights. Okay.
Which I think had the highest payout.
Yes. The open weight champion was Jack. All right. Also, the lightweight champion was Jack. The heavyweight champion was Elijah. And then Elijah won the last man standing.
So Elijah. Okay. So what happened? So what we saw was.
And then they also won teams.
All Stars did.
Yep.
So it was basically Avery, Jack, and Elijah.
Those 3, yeah. At least they got the main, the main ones, yeah. And then, and then women's was Morgan. Morgan won. I think she won both the open weight and.
But what was cool about that though? So if you look at what happened, this just shows you the power that a tournament has. So, and Don and Christine talked about this. They said that this is what you have to give for lightweight. This is what you have to give for heavyweight. If you do a last man standing, that has nothing to do with NASCA, right? So go ahead, do it if you want. You can add another division, but if you're giving money for lightweight grand champion, it has to be this. If you're giving money for the heavyweight, it has to.
That's what it was last year. You can do right now, whatever now. So,
but I thought what was interesting last year is Avery was the super fight winner. He was a super fight champion.
Yep.
He didn't win nearly as much as Jack or Elijah and walked out of there with more money.
Oh, you mean win as many divisions? Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Because he won the super fight.
Yep. He won that one. Yeah. Which was bigger. They had lots of people. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he walked out of $3,000 too.
Yeah.
I think because Jack won the open weight, Jack won the lightweight, and then
Elijah won the heavyweight over Avery. Yep.
And then he beat Jack.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but then Avery's the one with the deep pockets.
Hey,
It's
man.
just-
Hey.
It's interesting. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm glad that there was deep pockets to be had.
Exactly.
Right.
Now,
It's
Alex,
just cool.
would it make sense for you to do a separate super fight division that's like you're trying to make it a big deal without putting money out?
I don't know, man.
I mean, what would be the point of it?
No, without putting money out?
Yeah.
No,
No,
it
no,
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, why would people do that? Why would they make a big spectacle out of something, make it a big deal, and then not put any money behind it, right?
I mean, people do that.
I don't know.
And then what's funny to me is that people talk about, I don't know if we want to have this division. Nobody really shows up. And then you have the division. People show up. A lot of people, and you don't want to pay money. Like that's the thing. That's the interesting thing. You know how much it costs to throw it? Of course you do, right? To add another division, like here, we're going to add another division. It costs $0, right?
And
because
what are you getting?
we're already there, we're already doing it. Whatever you were paying or not paying for judges to officiate things, it's still the same, right? It's just time. That's all it is, right? Yep. And if you're in that position, what the heck ever, right? So I guess I don't understand the logic behind not offering anything if you weren't even planning on having it to begin with. Because if you didn't make, and this is, I do understand it, but I'm gonna speak on both sides of it for a second. It doesn't make sense to the customer. That's what competitors are. Competitors are customers, because without them, you don't have a business, right? Your business is competitors, right? Without them, you don't have it.
Correct.
If you didn't plan on even having this division, which means you were possibly going to voluntarily make no money. You're volunteering to possibly have no money whatsoever from this thing. It's going to cost you zero overhead.
Right. Okay?
But let's say you bring in $1,000, which isn't a ton, right?
No, but you could easily do that.
Why not just give away 500? There's so much. I tell you, listen, one of my really good friends, right? He hosts a local tournament in Wisconsin, right?
Oh yeah.
Jeff Christensen, solid dude. You know what he does? He gives away it's nothing much. He gives away $100 for whoever is the black belt grand champion. Okay.
Right.
You know how much he charges the black belts to compete?
Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Not a dime for the black belts to fight. Right, for the fighters. Okay. Mm-hmm. But he also gives money out for the forms winners too. Yeah. But for the black belt fighters, men and women, not a dime. And he's like, listen, it's the end of the day, because it's still very much a local tournament. It's the end of the day. He wants to show appreciation. You know what they all did? They all freaking show up. Yep. So when they all show up, now they bring people. So what did it cost him? It cost him $100.
Right.
That's it. But he gained so much more because of it, right? Short-term loss, which is what it's short loss, right? Heck, in some people's vehicles, that's going to the gas station in some cities, right? Correct. And then what's the gain? The gain's a lot, because now wouldn't everybody want to go back? Look at how appreciated people feel.
Right. Exactly.
That's what it's about, man.
That is. All right. So back to Ocean State. Who are some of the people you're excited to see compete at Ocean State? Because this, that event brings out people from different areas, of course, the New England area, which a lot of times we don't see as much as we used to. We grew up seeing, just because there was not just Ocean State back then, there was also New England Open, and also you had more New York events that were NASCA events. So we had a good amount of people there. We don't see that as much anymore. So on the NASCA side. So I know for me, it's like seeing those ones from Boston, seeing competitors that I haven't seen in a long time. And you're like, again, I'd love to see Matt Cato show up and compete. That would be awesome. You know,
That'd be cool.
he's training, he's working, so I think he's going to be showing up. So that'll be fun.
Dude, I got to tell you, I know sometimes people dog on NASCAR. It's an easy target,
Yeah.
you know, to say like, oh, it's just the East Coast, Florida, and a couple tournaments in the Midwest, right? And then compete somehow found their way in there. But you know what? No, when I really first started being like, all right, I'm going to do this thing and let me give this thing a shot. I was deep into martial arts for over a decade before I decided I was going to do that. All right. So all I knew was outside of Minnesota, I knew Chicago, I knew bluegrass, and I think that was about it. Right.
Yeah.
So, because I think, I mean, you know, because when you go to events, but when you're in that city, it's different, right? Dude, New England competitors, New England area competitors, it's just New England area culture. I'm going to say that New England area culture, it's just different, man.
It is different.
It's cool. I dig it.
It's just like they have this attitude, but it's like it's awesome though. It's just like I'm here to win attitude, and I don't know, man. It's
for all of our New Englanders listening, you guys might be right now just like leaning in, thinking, are they going to dog us? All right, what are you saying about us? No, really?
Honestly, I love it. It's a weird. It's people. All right, so their attitude can come off as jerk-like, right? To some people that don't, especially from the South, right? But to me, it's almost the most honest, like there is. You know, it's like, hey, they're just genuine who they are. You know what I mean? So
for the first time, like I didn't really get it. I was like, my gosh, these guys are angry all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, this is kind of cool. Right. But then, the competition's a great equalizer. Like you get in there, it don't matter like what your feelings are. Right. And that's what's just great about martial arts. And so many of us started martial arts because of that exact thing, because it didn't matter where you were at. Didn't matter. You literally didn't matter the clothes you wore, because we all go into a karate school of some kind. We put on the same uniform, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't until we get to this level of martial arts that we start being different and unique with our uniform, because it's literally in the name, uniform, right? So we get in there, and then all of a sudden the attitudes come out. Like, man, I never talked. I never said a word. We're not competing. Like, I didn't say nothing before, after. You could rip me off. I never said a word. Geez, I think it might have been like 2010 or 11 where I was actually speaking out loud. Like when people would trash talk and I'd trash talk back. People would trash talk and I wouldn't even say nothing. Right. And it's just so weird, because obviously it's clearly not me. Right. Yeah. I will talk. Right.
You're so right, bro.
But I love the New England area competitors, man. I think the people I'm looking, I know you said Matt Cato. You know what would be cool if they stopped by, made an appearance? Daniel Sterling.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that would be anything that would interest him, but I think that would be cool. Guys like that. But I think as far as competitors go, right, I really want to know if Jack is going to compete. If the All-Stars make their thing and they come back, if Elijah comes, that'd right? Awesome. And because, I almost feel bad that for Elijah, that like his peak has happened and we don't get a chance to see it all the time. He won 10 open weight championships in 2019.
Right.
And then for the last, that was 4 years ago, man. It was 4 freaking years ago.
That's crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but that's what we keep thinking. Like, oh, back 2019 when things were normal. Get away from that thought.
Yeah.
It's over now.
Right? It's over. This is the time. And man, our sport's growing, like in what we do, we're having more competition than there ever was. I mean, almost 60 competitors at AKA in the men's, 30 something in women's. I mean, it's crazy, right? So for me, I want to see Morgan and Katarina again.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, that's what I want to see. I want to see that as many times as possible. As many times as possible. So
And then like,
and that
they didn't
changes now
allude to it.
because of teams, like will Katarina do team fighting since she's not on Diamond anymore? She's on JPM. Who will she
Is there
team
another
fight
woman?
with? No.
They're not
there
gonna.
isn't.
JPM's not gonna let her fight with anybody else.
I don't know about that. I mean, maybe she'd fight with someone from her school. Maybe they'd be okay with that. I don't know. Listen,
I've never seen. Here's what I've never seen. I've never seen a JPM competitor fight with anybody else when
sure
it was a JPM event.
okay, when it was a JPM event. Okay, I was going to say.
Oh yeah, I've seen guys
I've seen Gina fight with people.
Absolutely.
And I've seen Chelsea.
But it might have been at like the Gator Nationals or something like that when it wasn't a team event.
Okay.
But there's no team event bigger for JPM bigger than this one, right?
Right. Well, besides US Open, yeah.
But this is weird. Like, so in like when you're around, people within JPM, they call Ocean State, they just call it coaches tournament.
Right.
Like, oh, you going to coaches? And you hear it and you're like, what the hell are you talking about? What is coaches? You going to coaches? Is that a restaurant? What the heck is that? No, they're talking about Don Rodriguez's tournament, Ocean State Grand Nationals. Like, okay, cool, makes sense, cool, coaches tournament.
Makes sense.
No, that's probably. I'm excited to see. Like, is there anybody coming over from Europe or the UK? Because if Evelyn Naines come, because now she's in the UK, right?
Yeah,
is she gonna come? That would be fantastic.
That would be fantastic.
Because think about this.
Why not?
Think if we had Evelyn Naines come, Katarina's there. She's already there. Pencil it in. All right. Morgan's there. And then Katana fights.
Katana comes. Yep. Boom.
This should be that would be exciting, right? That would be a great event. Like, all right, I'll sit down for this one. This one's gonna be fantastic. Right?
What's up, Mark? Looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks, bud. Yeah. All right. So again, Ocean State Grand Nationals, March 31st, April 1st, 2nd. And I love how they had the underbelts on the last day, spread it all out, make it all about them. And that way everybody can coach who they need to and just make it a good event. So I'm excited. I have several of my black belts going, as well as our team, Heartland South, will be there. So it's going to be a big weekend.
Wait, time. I want to just mention this for just a second because your team is now just Army.
Not yet. Not officially. It's almost there. Yeah.
Okay. It's going to be the Army, right?
It's going to be the Army team soon. Yeah.
And I just find this so interesting, fascinating, and confusing all at the same time, right? Yeah. And I think about it like the Army has a football team, right?
Yeah.
They have a football team. Now they're going to have a martial arts team and they will fight each other. Okay. This is the strangest thing. They should win all the time. They're the effing Army, right? Think about it. The Army, right, has a football team in which they have the U.S. government and defense system should be able to utilize. They should have the best possible thing. What the heck are they doing losing to Western Kentucky? The Army. It doesn't make sense, right? Yeah, you can have the Army fighting Team ATL.
Right.
That doesn't make sense.
Right.
I get what you're saying. We get it. We know it. Right.
Yeah. It's a little different because it's Army. It's Army sponsored. It's not necessarily like the Army, Army team, but I know. But there is a West Point team that is like a traditional karate, and all those guys they're at West Point. They are in the military. They are representing the Army, and they compete in the WKF. And I believe they're going to show up at the battle as well this year. So it's going to be cool because they're trying to do a couple other things of sport karate as well as the traditional. So, all right, we have one question. Then we're going to get into Starcade this weekend because again, a lot of people were doing Super Bowl. I was competing in Florida and had a good time at Murphy's event. Mark says, what is y'all's take on maybe doing sparring first at a tournament?
Here's what I would say. I think for underbelts, you should just yes, right.
Mhm.
Well, it is easy from a logistics standpoint to do that
Mhm.
because it's quicker, but in no way is it better. Is your product better? Your product is not better. Your performance, 1,000% will not be better. Right? It will definitely be better. Your performance will be better if you do forms and weapons first and then you fight. Right?
Hmm. Okay.
And the reason why is because I tried to explain this to when I talk to people who are great martial arts athletes who do forms and weapons and just like, I don't know if I want to fight. And usually because they know that they're successful in this,
Yeah.
but they really don't think that they're going to be successful in fighting. And I go, you're going to be successful if you
Yeah.
just do what you know what. All right, I'm going to out him. I'm going to out him, but it's okay because it's nothing I don't say to him already. Okay. Colin O'Brien.
Okay. Yeah.
Guy's great martial arts athlete, right?
Yeah.
So I train with the kids. I've been saying this to him for like literally ever. He started to get it now. And I'm like, homie, you're better than me. And he's like, there's one of those things, when you like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I physically can't do the things you can do, but I'm also not going to lose to you. Right. So
Right.
one week, it wasn't that long ago. I'm like, homie, I'm just telling you, you better come at me tonight because I'm coming at you with everything I got. I'm just telling you. Right. It doesn't make sense. Right. What's a big ass blunder that you could make in fighting? Right. Somebody spin kicks you in the face.
Right.
That's a pretty big F up, right?
Yeah.
It's 2 points, right? Maybe it's a jump spin. It's a 360
Three.
and
Right.
it's 3 points. All right. That could have happened to you twice, maybe 3 times in a match. The biggest F up you could possibly make. And you could still win that match. Then you could do that again.
Yeah.
And you could go in every single match like that. You'd be undefeated, making the biggest F ups possible. You could be a tournament champion, legend, making the biggest F ups in the world. You make one tiny little bobble. It's over.
Right.
Like you're not going to win your division. You're not going to win nothing. You won't get fourth place, right? You make one tiny little bobble. In forms and weapons, the skill level is beyond what it's ever been before, right?
Right.
You have to be perfect, like actually perfect. So when you go to fight and you don't have to be perfect and you can just relax and just let shit happen and you're a better physical martial arts athlete than most of the guys there because they don't do forms and weapons, what are we talking about?
Right. Right.
Just go do your shit, do your stuff. So that's what I say. I almost.
All right. Anyways, I think what he's talking about is how to run in a tournament. Okay. So,
my bad, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, Brett was saying he says no because he feels like you lose half your judges. I've done it in my tournament, and we actually did really well with having an adult sparring ring running through that time, and just everything just runs smoother for the most part. A lot of times, though, those adult black belts that are fighting are just coming to fight anyway. They're not really the ones that are coming to judge. Your forms competitors are the ones that are coming to judge a lot of times. So there are some that do both and that can. But just from what I've seen, I think it can work either way. But you just got to have your ring assignments correct. Don't try to make it too much. Now, if you're trying to do all underbelts and everybody do sparring first, I don't know. I mean, I think anything you can try anything. I think it changes it up because a lot of times we don't get to see. Some people don't get to see the sparring, because it's done at the end. So,
Right.
I think there's no harm in trying it, honestly. So, all right, Starcade review. So last weekend, went to Fort Lauderdale for Murphy Gonzalez tournament. Starcade was a great time. Not as big as the year past. Just a lot of things with the local area as far as a lot of tournaments back to back and everything. But you know, he puts on a big show no matter what, and he has great fighters there no matter what.
How was
You know,
Fort Lauderdale though, just as a whole?
dude, it was like 85, 90 degrees, man. It was crazy. And
Man,
I
sweater.
didn't I didn't dress. I didn't bring any shorts. I brought a hoodie. I was walking around in a hoodie, and then I was like, man, it's burning up. But
Time out. You didn't look at the weather though either, did you?
no, well, see, it was raining and snowing in Virginia, like it was supposed to. Like it was
Damn.
freezing, so it was like it just didn't work. And it just every day. Actually, the day I left, it was 60 degrees, but then the next day it was supposed to be like 28 or 25. So it was just that's how it is here right now. Okay, it's like 7 degrees one day, 20 degrees the next. Everybody's sick. It's crazy. But lots of fun. Our team went down there for this. We went last year and it was a lot of fun. Um, you know, he put on pretty much like super fight tournaments where he had 6 people seated, you know, and he had people like Kevin Walker, Bailey Murphy there. Both those guys were injured and they stepped up and judged the whole time.
Hmm.
So there were things like that. You know, you had Ryan George there. You had Justice Floyd there. You had Wayne Easterling, who was last year's super fight winner, that was there. You had Breon Rodriguez. Let's see. You had
So would you call this tournament a super regional?
I would say so. Yeah, it was also a WKC qualifier as
Oh,
well.
that's
So it was
definitely.
cool. So it definitely was. You know, the women's side, you had Brianna Nurse, you had Peyton Fender, you had Victoria Austin from Heartland, you had the Tua girls from Heartland. You had different people, you know, that really stepped up. You had Beatrice from Legend. So each category had, you know, they had great junior competitors. So the whole finals was just super fights, and then they went ahead and ran the overall grands and all that stuff during the day, and the same thing for the forums. So when I finished the forums, we went ahead and did grands during the day, and we just did demos. Whoever won did demonstrations. So
How did you feel like that went? When you
so
when
for
you were
me,
in
I
the
wasn't
finals
really.
and it was just doing a demo?
In some ways, it was fun because I didn't have any pressure,
Yeah.
and 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 I like to put on a show. Like you know. So and honestly, it came out pretty good. But so it is what it is. But it wasn't like a super pressure for me to like be perfect. But I knew I could put on a show, and it still kind of got me hyped up. So I like that part. It wasn't that bad. The year before, when I did forms, though, it was more of a competition. I had that real energy and drive, but so I don't really either or. It was cool. I just didn't like. Well, I didn't really know that when we were going to be doing the grands during the day, and so I didn't have my stuff for my weapons or anything with me. So I didn't really, you know that that was going to happen. So I did my I think I won my weapons grand in my white traditional uniform because that's what I had, and I didn't have time to run up and get my black gi. But
There's nothing wrong with just wearing the white when you're doing
no, it was cool.
creative.
Yeah, it was fun. So that was cool. The overall grands. All right. So let's see. For women's, it was Brianna Nurse over Jaden Tuitt. So Jaden beat Peyton Fender. Brianna beat I think this girl she was either from Guatemala or Venezuela.
Okay.
And in the division, so the divisions were a little different. They had like an 18 to 20-year-old open weight, and then they had
I've heard about this.
and then a
Yeah.
21 to 29, and was the regular divisions that they broke up within different weight classes, right? So, so like Brianna Nurse defeated Brianna Tuitt in the first round of that division, and then but also we got to remember too. Sorry, it was double elimination, so actually there was no like rounds. It was everyone kind of went until it was it was done. So like The first and second was Victoria Austin versus Brianna Nurse, and Brianna Nurse won. Okay, gave her
Okay.
second loss. And then Peyton Fender and Jaden Tuitt had an awesome fight in the Grands. They definitely just going back and forth. Really, Peyton was winning most of the fight, and then Brianna started doing what she was. Sorry, did I get through? No, Jaden. Sorry, Jaden was doing. Sorry, the names. They're sisters. Jaden started doing what she's good at, and that's kicking and kicking explosively, and pinpointing exactly where she's hitting at. So it was awesome to see that she won that one. Went on to fight Brianna, a great 2-round fight. Again, Brianna Nurse, and Brianna Nurse won that. So great competition on the women's side. Beatrice wasn't there during the day. She just came for the super fights that night. There was a couple that did that. Wayne was supposed to be there during the day, but his flight got canceled. So he made it like just in time for the finals. Like literally, like I think he got there like 5 and the finals started at 6. So yeah. The men's, Angel Diaz was on fire. He was beating people by like 6, 7, 8 points in the division. Just running through.
He's coming around, man.
Running through.
Everybody saw the potential in Angel like right away, like a few years ago, like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the potential in him in like, I think it was like 2015 when I first saw him, because he looked to me like a version of Sam Diaz that's longer, leaner, and can kick better, right?
Right.
Now, I'm not, he doesn't, that's not, I know that might have just sounded like I just dogged Sam. I'm not.
No. It's just different.
Because
they have different.
Sam should definitely fight more, by the way. Sam is a good ass fighter, right? That always bothered me because he's a good ass fighter and he doesn't. That bothers me still, Sam. Get out there and fight. No, but it's just in him that he's got just this dog. I think like he could be getting destroyed and he ever would, but he could be getting destroyed and he's still coming out he could be losing by 11 and he'll come back out like he's getting the next point. Right. So that's great. How did it end up with Angel?
So Angel won his division and then made it to the overall Grands final to fight Ryan George. So Ryan George won the 30+ division.
That's still crazy to hear, Ryan George.
Yeah, and then he beat Manuel Araujo from Mexico and Velocity. And then let's see, Justice Floyd won one of the divisions. Angel won one, and then I don't know, someone else was there that can remember. I don't remember who won the other ones, but it came down to Ryan beat Justice, and it came down to Ryan with Angel, and this is where Angel shoulder popped out. Okay,
I heard about that.
Yeah, so but Ryan fought great, man. Just and won that overall Grand. So Ryan, this was his first time fighting since like Battle of Atlanta, so he's been out of it for a little bit, and look good, man. Looked really good. As far as for the forums, it was myself and I'm trying to remember the guy's name, local guy. And then
that's how you know you won no matter what. It was
and
myself and was there anybody else there?
No. And then Rashad. No. It was me, Rashad, and then a local guy. I can't remember his name right now, but he does nunchucks. Did a good job. But myself versus Rashad was kind of like, one of the main ones, right? So this was what they did. They did the weapons and then they did the forms back to back. So I had to put everything out there to even get that shot with the weapons. So I went back and did my commas, which I haven't done commas in like 10 years. Did my comma form, which was against his traditional weapons form, which his bow form is really strong and fast, right? So, and I feel my commas are the same way, but then I had to add a little extra. So I brought my nunchuck I put a nunchuck in, and I had to actually borrow the nunchuck from the guy who went right in front of me, which was kind of weird. But like, hey, I know this sounds weird, but can I borrow one of your nunchucks? I'm going to use it. I'm like, okay. So I'm on one leg and I'm doing my comma spins, and then I take the nunchuck out. It's something I used to do back in like 2010, 2011. So I hadn't done it in a long time. And
so crazy, man.
They liked it. It worked. I got 2 of the judges to give me first. So I won that. Once I finished that, I'm like, all right, let's go, because I feel even more confident in the forms, right? So it was going to be my Korean form versus Rashad's Japanese form. So I felt real confident. I was like, all right, let's go. Let's keep this energy going. And, it just didn't go the way that I expected it. And Rashad came out. He looked really strong. And, he keeps getting better at his Japanese forms, so it was really good. Yeah, okay, there we go. Thanks, Angel. Miguel Quinones Jr. In the first round. And Kendall Willis for the second. And then Ryan George for the overall. Awesome. Yeah. So Rashad edged me out. So last year I won forms, he won weapons. This year it flipped. So we both did our demos in the final.
If you repeat that, if you don't explain a thing and you go, yeah, Rashad Eugene and I were in the grands for both the forms and weapons, and I won the weapons and Rashad won the forms. People will go, huh?
Yeah.
Wait, what? Repeat that? You beat Rashad in weapons, and Rashad beat you in forms. Yes, but your explanation makes it make sense.
Right.
That's why you can't look at the end result of things. You have to see the story. You have to see how it plays out.
Correct.
That's great.
So it was a cool time, good event. We ended early, and there was just a lot of, when you're fighting down in Florida, especially with double elimination, you got to have the gas tank and you got to keep your hands up, because they hit harder down there. All right. And they want to see it harder. Because again, here we go. We go to the finals. We got super fights, and that's the whole thing. Everything's 1 point in super fights. If you step out of the ring, it's a point the other direction. If you get hit to the ground or fall to the ground, it's a point the other direction. So you hit someone solid with a reverse punch, knock them out of the ring, and they fall down. That's 3 points.
Well, I think competitors now also kind of forget what super fights was when it was going for since the early 2000s, and obviously in some areas like Starcade, it hasn't stopped.
Right.
Like at one point, we had a no back fist rule.
Correct.
Remember, there was like, no, back fists just don't count. Like, explain why. It doesn't hit as hard. Like, what? You've never seen Cam Dawson? You throw a back fist.
Right.
But then that's the thing. I remember I smacked someone with a back fist, and they were like, nope, can't give it to you as a back fist. You didn't turn it into a jab. Be like, look at the angle I was at. It was impossible to do that.
Right.
Stupid.
Yeah.
But
this, they don't do that. No, there was some good, clean back fists done here, done the right way. And, and it was honestly, this year to me felt even more like controlled and cleaner in a lot of ways with the fighting. So it was really cool. You had Jeremy Roque as the center judge, and then you had the corners of Kevin and Bailey Murphy.
Then
things
are going great.
So solid.
Jeremy is your center ref. Things are going great. Then you got Bailey and Kevin as the corners.
Right.
That's a dream situation. You lose that, you're just like, shit, I lost.
Yeah. I have some video from it that I sent to Travis, so hopefully we'll have some of those out. There was just so many great fights. Angel was hurt, so he had to bow out of the super fights. There were several ones that had to bow out of that because of injuries. But I believe the men's super fights, I don't know several of the guys that were from like Mexico or their names, but I know there was one from Legend, then there was one from Velocity. Both, I think one of those was that Miguel guy was one of them. And then we have, sorry, I'm trying to remember all the names. We have Justice in there. We have Brayon. We have Ryan George. We have Wayne Easterling. Those four, that, and there's two more that I'm missing. Help me out, Angel, if you're there. But I think that was the main one. So I think it ended up being Wayne versus Justice in the semis, right? It was 1 round fight.
I saw that fight.
First.
That was a good fight.
Yeah. And then we
had
a
lot going on in that fight.
Yeah. And then we had Brayon versus Ryan, I believe. Ryan George, I believe. So Ryan, man, and that's the men's. On the women's side, you know, you had Victoria Austin versus Brianna Nurse, which is another great fight. And then you had Peyton Fender versus Beatrice Garcia from Legend, which is an awesome fight too. And, you know, so you're talking about four amazing semifinals. The junior fights were great as well. So lots of cool stuff there. I mean, overall, for me, it was seeing Peyton Fender's heart and pushing her to go, you know, like just insane, you know. Thanks. Yeah, that's kind of where I did that at. That was the first time I did that at, was the 2010 Super Grands. Well, yep. That was one of my,
in reference when you're talking about at the
the
Super Grand,
nunchuck.
when you
Yeah.
had the commas and then you whipped out the
Yeah.
nunchuck.
That was probably one of my favorite combo performances because I just did so many cool upside down strikes and stuff.
Which
But
we're going to get into some commas later on here in the show.
yeah, we don't have too much longer. But yeah. Anyways,
going there.
but the Starcade review, you know, as far as that going, the super fights, man, they were clean, they were fun, and the whole area down there just like, it's just a good crowd, a good experience. So, and Murphy does an awesome job on the mic. I talked last year just about how he gets you pumped up. For me doing my demo, he definitely got the crowd pumped up, and I get the crowd pumped up. So it was a lot of fun, you know. All right, Wayne Easterling, man, this super fight type thing is his style of fighting. Okay, he hits strong, he hits fast. I wish I'd seen more of him at other tournaments. He always comes down there and does a great job of those super fights. He's just an awesome athlete, but a great fighter. The way he knows just his spacing, and he also, like, people are a little worried like about getting hit by this dude. Like last year, I mean, he pretty much knocked out Brayon. All right, knocked him out. All right, he cut up a beta pretty bad, and then I thought he just put on a better performance against Justice last year. This year, he fought Justice again. Justice did a lot better. Was a great fight overall. Was cool. Like Wayne just throwing stuff that you don't see, you know, like throwing uppercuts in a point sparring match. Like, hey, you know, it's just awesome, right?
You know, I love it when, you know, tournaments get rematches of fights. You know, if it was like Avery and Jack at the U.S. Open, if the very next year,
right,
you got Avery and Jack again for whatever thing it is, right?
Yeah.
If you get them back to back, it's a better storyline. The fighters like it better too. So the fact that we could have another storyline on top of that, trust me, they took that to heart. The fighters did. They don't play around.
Yep. So Ryan, this is just my thing. Wayne's from South Carolina, from Team Unity. Drew. All right. I'm just gonna say this. Ryan George is awesome, dude. All right. One of my favorite competitors to watch. He's my competitor of the week. All right.
Jeff's competitor of the week?
Yeah, I would say. All right. I just think we know him as an amazing kicker, right? But this weekend he showed his hands are like, people were worried about his hands, especially in this type of super fight.
He showed his maturity. He showed his
maturity. He's showing he can drop people. You know, we saw that in Pro Point. How many times it was like, whoa, all right, Ryan, chill out a little bit, right? So he just showed his maturity. He did some crazy things that you don't see a lot. Like he's fighting Wayne for the overall, for the super fights. I believe it's Wayne. Maybe actually he did this against Brayon. Anyway, he does a back leg, front kick, round kick combo, and then follows up with hands. It's just like cool stuff you don't see anymore, like an old school combo.
It's like the old school kick combo as you get.
Yeah.
The only other kick combo would be like 2 round kicks, low, high. No, but like the front kick, round kick. I mean, that's like, people did that in like the 70s.
Right. So it was cool. The other thing that I was so impressed with was like, all right, if you step out of bounds, which a lot of people are doing, you're given a point the other way. Yeah. At the end of the fight against Wayne, he does like a fadeaway jump side kick and sticks Wayne, and they call in the point, but he does that and then almost angles off and tippy toes to where his feet does not get out of the line. So he doesn't. I mean, it's just a crazy athletic thing, you know.
So he basically did a fadeaway jump side kick. and then did a
like
Chris
angled in the
Carter
air almost.
sideline catch.
Yeah. So it's just really cool, man. Just congrats to Ryan George winning the super fights. Great job. And then for me, man, it was a great fight with Peyton Fender and Brianna Nurse. Brianna, honestly, the whole weekend looked awesome and was scary. I think she was intimidating a lot of people. But Peyton Fender came out and just showed her heart, man.
She's a
And
good fighter, man. She's just a
it
good
was
fighter.
awesome to see, her strong. She hit a lot of just clean side kicks that they were just clean. Like you had to give it to her. It wasn't like, well, she just put it up here. No, it was clean and it stopped them.
Yeah.
And so just congrats to her.
I mean,
And
Brianna
overall,
Nurse is
man,
about
Murphy
it.
puts on a fun event, dude.
Brianna Nurse is about it, and she's probably the better fighter. But I mean, Peyton is just getting better and better, man.
Yeah.
It's just really cool to see.
Yeah.
It was interesting, when you're talking about Ryan. I think he kind of put in some dad strength.
Yeah.
You know what?
2 kids now.
Because there's just some stuff, man. Like when you were talking about like they were calling out of bounds, and this goes back. This is like some old school stuff. But you could say like, oh, back in the day, we never used to run out of bounds and we never used to go down. Yes, you did.
See, I told you froze. And you're frozen my phone too, buddy. Your internet can't last more than 45 minutes. It's crazy. He doesn't believe me, guys. He doesn't believe me that his internet is that bad. He's like, oh, it doesn't show that way on the video when I watch it back. Oh, it's bad. Frozen. See, this is why it's really hard doing a show with someone who talks as much as Alex, who also has bad internet, right? Because he'll be in the middle of a long rant like this, and then just frozen. And then guess what? He wants to finish it, and then it won't work, right?
Whatever. Take a screenshot. Was it that bad? Whatever. It is what it is. But here's the thing. I think let me. You know who's saying he's back? You know what that is? That's my mom. Because she's heckling me. My own mom is heckling me. Your mom is over here saying like, "Great to see you, Jeff. Way to go. Good job." My mom's heckling me. Whatever, mom. Glad you're here. Actually, I really am.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you know what I want to just let's just get into it. What I was trying to get to the point was maybe the freeze was good to stop my rant. I think Ryan has reached a level, like another level in his progression that I'm really excited to see. Like, all right, what's his next fights? I think it would be great to see a rematch of he and Kevin Walker in VFT, because that really that was VFT 1. VFT 1.
Yeah.
That one was one of the best fights in all of VFT. Really was. And it's still the best matchups. I would love to see that again. Right?
Yeah.
Can we go to my competitor of the week? Can we do that? Because you kind of stole mine. You kind of stole mine, to be honest with you. I was thinking, I really wanted Ryan, but whatever. You called it. You called dibs. Right?
Go.
Justice Floyd, my friend.
Yeah,
I love that fight. All right. And here's the thing. It could be somewhat predictable that Justice Floyd would be my competitor of the week because of the kind of fighter that he is and what I would gravitate towards. Yeah, I get it. But I'm going to speak on that. All right. Justice Floyd in that fight with Ryan, I saw him go flat foot a few times. And when I saw him go flat foot, immediately, because I watched that fight, and I immediately heard Terry, like, boom, his dad, like, tell him to keep going, right?
Yeah.
Because if Justice is flat foot, like anybody goes flat foot, they're beatable, right?
Yeah.
But if Justice goes flat foot, it's almost like, hurry up and come hit me, right?
Right.
Now, the thing that about Justice, which is so great, which helps him, is that when he does pick up to kick, the challenging part about fighting him is you have to back up because it's always at or above your head. So
Correct.
you're like, what the shit, man? It's actually, I get it. Like, it's stressful and it's really kind of annoying because you have to deal with every single time. It's at the head. Dang, it's at the head. I got to back the heck up every single time. I've got to respect it. And he moves well. Now, in this match, what Ryan did a very good job of was going to the front side because they fight in an open stance.
Right.
Left, Ryan, right, Justice.
Right.
Ryan, and I watched this happening. And I almost I was yelling through the screen like, Justice, stop. Ryan goes front side, right, as he's backing up, not kicking, not doing anything. He's just moving. He's putting his hand out there. He moves front side as Justice is pumping that leg. As soon as he goes front side, I'm like, no. And then he cuts back side, and Justice keeps pumping. And I'm like, stop, Justice, stop. And then that check because he got behind his leg and he put his hand behind his heel. And then Justice's and he backed up. So the Justice had to extend so that the leg extended and then dropped. And then that check punch, check punch made some noise.
Yeah, it was hard, man. Yep.
But then here's the thing about it, right? Don't be like, oh, you talk about your competitor of the week and you're talking about him getting hit. He comes right the hell back.
Right.
Boom, pumping right at the face. Like,
exactly.
It's almost, it's discouraging sometimes. Like, I can't slow this guy down, right? You can't slow him down. He has to choose to slow himself down. A fighter like that beats themselves, right? Yes, you can rock the shit out of them. But in the end, when they decide they're going to go flat again, they beat themselves, right?
Yeah.
Because, but then he can come right back, pow, 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 right back at your face, right? How do you defend that shit?
Right.
Sorry, man.
So one of the things that's new with Justice is, he's on Diamond now, right? And so, he's always had Terry, his dad, as his coach, and training him at home and everything. And I think that intensity that Terry puts into Justice is awesome. But when it comes to that, needing that maybe calmer personality to kind of just get hey, calm down, do this. And without, so much of that intense, I think Damien's the perfect person for that. So I'm excited to see his growth with Damien, just to have a different, view and a different mindset with that. And I've already seen some, we saw some great views of that, AKA of him, winning his individual grand and getting close there against Christian. Right. So I think it's really, really cool to just see the growth of him, So
I would just personally, I'd like to see that happen because I think after AKA this year, I made a decision like, you know what? I'm going to make a top kickers list for 2023. Just this calendar year.
Yeah.
I'm at the end of the year, I'm going to make a top kickers list of this year because everybody is a freaking great kicker this year.
Yeah.
I'm like, everybody just lives with their foot up. There's no such thing.
It's crazy, right?
Remember when there used to be just like, no, this guy's a kicker. Oh, no, this guy's just a puncher. You can't live that way anymore.
No.
You can't.
Right.
Everybody's great. Right. Now, the forms community would only jump on board.
We're getting there. Maybe.
And start having some standing kicking outside of Jeff Doss. I mean,
there's some other
ones. At the same time, if everybody did start kicking, you're still going to be the best.
Thanks. All right. We got a couple minutes. Which topic do we want to go to? Do you want to go to that comma one or do you want to do the CJB one? That's a good one too. What do we do? I know that one's hard.
No, let's do the CJB one. Let's do the CJB one.
You think we can get through that one fast?
Let's do it. Come on.
All right.
It's cat's out of the bag.
All right. So there was a picture that we shared the other day, and it was actually from Tornado Internationals, where Team CJB from 2002 was doing a 5-person set fight against Team IDC. So our team was Russ Taylor, and it was cool the way it's set up because it's actual kind of like all the weight classes of kind of you could move them around to where they would be these days, right? Russ Taylor was our super lightweight or lightweight.
Yep.
Jason Tankson would be like our welterweight now, right? Because he was kind of at that phase, or at that he was moving down. Actually, him and Raymond just flip flop.
He would go between light and light middle.
Yeah, well, but see, before that, he was actually he was middleweight a lot of times in NBL, and Raymond was lightweight. So then they switched around that time. So
Jason was like the Oprah Winfrey, right?
yeah.
He would go up, he would go down, but in the end, Oprah always had the show, just like Jason always came to fight.
So, and then you have your middleweight, which would be Trevor Nash, right? And then you have your heavyweight, which was Dana Gilbert. And then the women's, you have Claire Kokoza, one of the best kickers, one of the best female fighters ever. So that, and to me, the most underrated of all that is Russ Taylor. This dude was an amazing lightweight fighter. He was just, you knew what he was going to do. He's going to side kick you or reverse punch you. But like, you had a hard time getting through those side kicks, right? And
you know who's the Russ Taylor of today? Not in style, but just in like exactly what you said.
John
Curatolo.
Yep. I said it before you. I knew it.
Did you really? Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
I didn't listen.
John Curatolo, yeah.
Oh,
I agree, though. That's true. Very true. I mean, makes sense, though, right?
Not in style of fight, but just in the way that you presented that.
Consistent. Like,
exactly.
He won his division a lot. You know, there was a long time where Russ maybe only would lose his division once a year or twice a year, you know. So, solid competitor. So again, that 5-man group, 5-person team, that's legendary. That's hard to find, one where you don't really see too many weaknesses, and it actually is, it's not like all heavyweights or whatever. It's like one of each weight class. So who would you match up against that? Or is there a current team that could do that? Or even a past team that you could maybe put with that?
You got a couple of things there. So number one, a team that goes through each weight category, right? So today or overall, like, I don't know, is there a team that they can do it? And you mentioned like not just all heavyweights. Like I think the transatlantic team, like they were all heavyweights, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
but they did have other people on their team.
They did have other people. I think that
because they had Tony, they had Kevin Thompson.
They had Tony Young, but I mean, they didn't do the team fighting. No, he did do it a couple times, but in the end, like we're still talking about Nasty Anderson, Terry Kramer, Anthony Price. Like this is what we're talking about, right? We're talking about the big badass heavy hitters, right? Yeah. So, but if you can't play that game, if you got to play the weight category game, which is challenging to do, I mean,
there's got to be a JPM team from the early 90s that probably could have, right? But a lot of times after Christine stopped fighting, there wasn't a consistent competitor in the fighting. I mean, Casey fought and she did well, but she didn't match up very well against Claire. So
here's what I'll say:
that would,
if there was a team that could match, that could even contend with those weight categories, which you can, because in the end, the fights have to happen. I don't think there's any team that if they had a fighter in each one of those weight categories that was really good, none of them had someone who could beat Claire. Unless you found a team, you're going to find a team that had Nikki on it, right?
Right. So Prestige maybe. So we look at Prestige.
But did Prestige have all those weight
92,
categories?
So, not 92, 93, 94, 95. So
yeah, 3.
And they're, so let's say 93. So this would be the end of Hakeem, Ibby, Shaw, those 3. And then
they were on it in 93, weren't they?
Yeah. And then you have Nikki as part of that. And then who would be the 4th person in that,
and honestly, I don't remember at that time who all the ones were in those weight categories. Now give me a little bit of grace, guys. It's 30 freaking years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Let's look at Metro. So we have,
that's probably our best.
You have a Brady. Let's say, because really Manny Reyes Jr. would be kind of like that super lightweight.
You have Manny Jr.
And then Donald would probably be the welterweight, right? And then middle
light, would be Ronald.
Ronald.
Donald is lighter than Ronald.
Yeah, and then you have heavy, which would be
or middle,
or middle would be Mafia, and then heavy could be a Gerald, or could even be Anthony Price.
Probably Anthony Price.
Anthony Price, so you could have Donald, Ronald, Mafia, Anthony as your 4, and then female at that time, Don Rolfe was probably the most consistent one they had, but honestly, actually Krista Shear,
But
is it Krista
sorry,
Shear?
I'm
Yeah,
looking
Krista
off
Shear
the
who turned
safety
into
picture.
Krista Kersey. Yeah, she was probably solid, but I don't know if she's from Canada as well. Was a great fighter. She was on Team Elite later on. I don't know, man. That's a
I'm
solid
still
one.
not sure that they beat CJB.
Oh, I know. I don't. It's really hard.
So
because-
now let's think about the. Can we agree on that one that like no, that was probably the best team lineup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, and without using, so maybe look at an all-star or maybe a full circle. But the thing is, with both of those, they have someone who's already on that team, Jason or Trevor, right?
That's the challenging part.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Right.
maybe an all-star team that had.
That's why
Regina.
I never brought up the All-Stars because you can't, because you're pulling Trevor or Jason.
Well, all right. We look at the lightweight.
I mean, you could do that.
Robbie. We look at the welterweight Jack. We look at the middleweight.
What do you want to try? You want to try Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin, and then heavy would be Raymond. That's happened before. And then
they win.
And then who would be your female? Regina, I guess, would be your female, but
Regina?
I don't even know if
Chelsea
they
was
all
there
were
for a
actually
cup of
on
coffee.
but they weren't all on there at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like
I know.
Regina was gone when Kevin came in. So who was their female fighter of the last
Chelsea.
But, I mean,
Well, then yes, they win.
Think so?
They win. Yes.
Chelsea never beat Claire.
Listen, you're gonna have to take an L somehow, some way.
Yeah, but that could be where you get your points.
No.
It's hard, but I listen. Chelsea's one of my favorite fighters ever, but I definitely think.
All right, let's go down the line. Okay, so if we want to do this, let's.
And here's the deal: Robbie and Russ is going to be really low points, super low points.
And I could see a win either way. Okay. I don't necessarily think it's low points because Robbie,
their style is very similar.
There are super lightweights that have gotten wins over Robbie, but they had to have fight of their freaking life to do it. Like Landon Reynolds has beaten Robbie.
Yeah,
he performed out of his mind to do that. Right? He was great. I've always thought that guy's an underrated competitor. But anyway.
Oh yeah, he was. It's just. But
so let's just say, you know what? Let's give that one zeros. Okay, is that fair?
Yeah. So we'll get
that one zeros.
Fine.
So now we go to Jason versus
Jack.
Shit.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that could go either way depending on the day.
You're gonna want to favor Jack. I'm gonna want to favor Jason.
And then on the next, no, not really. I mean,
it's hard, man.
That's my team, bro. That's my team.
I know it's your team and it's your favorite fighter.
Yeah. Well, they're both my favorites. But yeah. And then you go, this is where I think the win goes to CJB, Trevor over Kevin.
Yeah.
Especially in that
time. So then there we go. The win goes.
And now we have Damon and Raymond, which,
it's Ray.
Yeah. It just depends on how but who's running the ship there? Who's creating the matchups?
Hugh.
Okay, versus who? Conroy. Sorry. CJB wins.
No, it doesn't matter. What do you mean the matchups?
Because it matters based on when. All right, if you're going to wait and have Raymond and Damon at the end, yeah, that gives Raymond the advantage. Yeah. If you turn it the other way and maybe put Jason at the end, or if you put Trevor at the end, those fighters are different. Jason was always a great closer. You know what I mean?
But let's say this though. All right, if it's NBL, don't they have to go in sequence all the way, and then heavy being the last? So then doesn't that give him that advantage?
It could. So would that put the women first, or would they put it at the end?
I think it puts the women first.
It could. Could. So that could be that way if it was NBL. If it was not, you just kind of choose which way you want to do it. I don't know. This is interesting. I think that is your closest one. You know what I mean? To me,
But then Chelsea and Claire.
Is there any team right now that has all those? I mean, Legend maybe.
Is there any team right now that has a fighter in every one of those categories?
Legend to me would be the one that has that. They may be missing one of them though, and then now maybe straight up, but I don't think they have a heavyweight person. Unless I'm missing something. Yeah.
The last time straight up had a heavyweight was Corey Williams, which he's not making it. I'm not dogging Corey. He's not making any all-time talk list, right?
Right.
So,
yeah, you're right. So I don't know, man.
I mean, unless Brandon decides he wants to start benching and squatting more.
The one that may have it, I don't know. Even I think top 10 USA probably doesn't have all of them, and they don't have the heavyweight really. So
I mean,
I don't know. I just think overall that team is just solid. You know.
Which one? The CJB team?
From 02, 03, 04. I mean,
you know,
really
what?
02, 03.
I'm going to say this. The CJB team, the way it was constructed, and this is some sport nerdia right here, right? Reminds me a lot about, I think it was the 74 Steelers.
Okay. I thought you were going to basketball. So.
All of their starters came from like one draft, right? Like not their starters, but all of their like big time Hall of Famers that won Super Bowls came from like one draft, right? Yeah. It was like, okay, how the heck did this play out? There's no way you actually thought, the greatest, fullback in history is going to come. Stop. Who freaking thinks of that? Right? Nobody thinks that. Nobody knows that. So there's a certain amount of luck. But you know what? Maybe there's a certain amount of luck that came in to CJB, because Conroy even said it when he watched Jason and Trevor fight, and he didn't say like, I know they're going to be two of the greatest fighters that ever did this game. He looked at the way that they fought each other and with the heart, because I think Trevor was injured.
Trevor fought like 17 times.
Right. And he's like, I want both of these two guys. Right. Which, that makes freaking sense. Now you look at this and go, well, why wouldn't every team just throw like whatever money that they had to throw at team and just say, but you're looking at that now. At that point, nobody really talked about them like that. People knew who they were. They didn't talk about them like that. Right. So, at that point, I guess you could say that, Conroy was Professor X, or he was, Nostradamus or whatever.
Yeah, dude, that team's just awesome. And honestly, the only other team, that could give us a run for money in that platform was SES, which is around that same time. And they had actually already got gone away the year before.
So let's go through those matchups.
Because again, you're looking at Ski and Russ, and Russ always did well against Ski. We did a set match before, and Russ beat Ski by like 7-8 points at Spartanburg.
Ski's got like the style.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Willie. It's kind of like Willie Hicks in the sense that, like, if you fought him and you beat him this time, the next time you fight him, you're still stressed. Right? You don't go into it thinking like, I beat you, man. You're still stressed because you're like, I know what the hell you can do. And I know I have no clue what it's going to be this time. Right?
Yeah. I mean, all right. So you look at that. So that's the lightweight. The welterweight, that's where I'm not sure who they would have.
That's the one I'm trying to remember.
I'm trying to remember because, so they also had tons in the higher level because they would have to choose between for their light heavy, it would have to be their middleweight, it would probably be Ryan Huntley would be their middleweight at that time, and then their heavy would be Brian Plimple, but they also have Carlos. So it's like,
I wasn't even thinking about Brian.
Yeah, you have Brian Plimple, you have Ryan Huntley, who I would say, because he was at that in the NBL, he was a light heavyweight, which would be the middleweight for NASCA now. And then,
so I guess the question would be: is how light was Travis?
Travis was the same division as I thought it was Trevor.
I know. So there's too many people combined. Like a Brian or
they
Travis
had so many people in those upper divisions.
But that's how teams did it.
You know, and also you also had Ricky Murray too in there too, who was a great fighter. He was around that same one. So I can't remember who was their lightweight and light middle person. You know, later on the next year or 2002, it would have been Jamad, but that team was already done, right? So I don't know, that part's a little tricky. And then women, honestly, they had better choices at that time of that. They could have chose between Regina or Tara. You know, so I would actually choose in that situation Tara over Claire. So, like, I mean, I'm saying Tara against Claire instead of Regina against Claire. Those matches went back and forth, but Tara did well against Claire many times for the overall. So
now we mentioned the JPM teams, and maybe this one might be it. Maybe it would be a JPM team of Pedro. With Pedro versus Russ, it's Pedro.
Yeah.
I'm still going to take Pedro. Listen.
Oh, yeah.
If it happens and Russ wins, fine.
Right.
10 times out of 10, I'm still going to pick Pedro.
But I feel like at that time, though, Pedro actually would be the welterweight. Because the weight class.
Come on now. We're splitting hairs. All right. We're talking all times now.
Go. There was only 6, but it's a little hard now. Go ahead.
And then if we go Pedro and Mike P.
Okay.
Reggie.
Okay.
And Brian.
Brian who? Ruth?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then at that time in the 90s, Nikki was still on the team.
Who?
Nikki.
Who's Nikki?
Carlson Lee.
He was never on JPM, my friend.
What?
Yeah, no.
Stop.
No, she was not on JPM. What are you doing?
Yes, she was.
Okay. In your mind, maybe she was.
No, really. Am I just really? Was it?
Yeah, you're just making that up, bro.
I made this up. All right. Well, then I don't know. I guess I lied.
Yeah, because at that time,
I guess I had a shot for a moment. Everyone just laughed at me. It's whatever.
Yeah. All right. Oh man. Well, that was fun. So, anyways, we want to hear your matchups. Who you would put against that? We maybe.
I know Mark says you guys are like freaking encyclopedias. No, Mark. Jeff is. He actually has a T-shirt that says so.
And you can get it at mainnetwork.shop. Boom.
I got my CTE shirt on today. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought I brought my Shut Up Alex shirt, but I guess I didn't bring it. So
it's become a popular thing.
I've just kind of been here since, I don't know, 9 this morning. So
my wife was wearing hers around the house, and then this is funny because now my daughter, she loves to read everything. Right? Yeah. She sees it where she sees it where there. Wears a shirt. She's like, "Mommy, that's not a good word to say."
That's funny.
Yeah, it was pretty good. All right.
That is good. Oh man. All right. So we had a great show. Yep. One more Ocean State thing. It'll be the last minute. What is your favorite Don the Dragon Wilson show movie?
Oh, that's right. He's going to be the celebrity.
He's going to be the celebrity there. So if you guys, Don Wilson was a great kickboxer and had a lot of martial arts movies. I probably saw all of them when I was a kid. So what was one of the ones that you thought of?
So he was like, I think Don was in a lot of martial arts movies, right?
Yeah.
Like they weren't like Kickboxer or like.
No, but they're almost like King of the Kickboxer or you know.
They were the B-rated movies.
Right.
He was like Richard Norton in the sense that like you saw Richard Norton in every martial arts B movie, the ones that just go straight to video. You never see them in a theater, but they're always out. And you know what? I can't remember them right now. But I watched a ton of movies with Don Wilson in them. Because listen, please tell me that there wasn't any 90s kids nerds out there that did the same dang thing. And I don't care how old you were, if you were 5 or if you were 15, or
watch all
anywhere in between. You went to the video store, you went to Blockbuster, you went to the one by my house was called Speedy Video, right? I walked there or ride my bike and I go to Speedy Video with $5 and I rent the video and get some gobstoppers, right? And I would be looking through and it would be tons of stuff. And I would go right to just the martial arts section.
Yep.
And dude, martial arts movies were just different back then, man.
Oh, yeah.
You did act. And this is the thing. I was literally talking to Lindsay last night about this, right? How martial arts movies back then, you saw actual martial arts. Whereas like now we can be watching something and then we watch a commercial and we see someone do a corkscrew and we're like, all right, that was probably Anis Chuerfa, right? Or that was Daniel Graham, right? You can kind of tell sometimes. You can kind of tell by who it is. Like, oh, I know who that was.
Yeah, that's Matt Image.
People look at you like you're nuts, but it's like it's almost disappointing because it's like this is gonna sound bad, but for everybody who just loves the fact that they're in stunts, I'm sorry that they just bastardize them, right? Because they use their martial arts ability but won't show their face. And Don wasn't that guy. Don was a kickboxer. He was a martial artist. He was a fighter. When we saw him, he was in the movie. He was featured. He was that guy. Cool to see him there. This is going to be fun. This is going to be great. He's going to be there. Hope people get pictures with him, get autographs or whatever, belts signed by him. That would be cool.
I'm going to say Blood Fist, man. Blood Fist was he had like 5 or 6 of them. It was crazy. And then Ring of Fire was one I'll always remember that because that final scene when they're fighting in the Ring of Fire. I remember that. That was cool.
You did the same thing as a kid, though, right?
I went outside and I put a Ring of Fire and I just started practicing my. No,
that's not what I'm talking about. I'm going to the video store.
Yes, it was the video store, and I would get 2 sections. I would be in the wrestling section and the martial arts section. So I would get a wrestling movie and a martial arts movie. That's what I would do. Well, yeah, back then, like you could after the pay-per-views and stuff, or then they would have like. Let's see, like what was Coliseum Home Video where they would put different matches together, like, and just say, all right, here's a video on this wrestler. And you saw all of their matches or best bad guys of 1983 or something like that. Like you would just watch that. Yeah. So, yeah.
Dude, I think I'm an anomaly that I'm a guy who's from Minnesota who's not into wrestling. Because if you're from Minnesota, you're into hockey, you're into wrestling, you're into fishing.
Yep.
And I'm into some of those, but wrestling just wasn't one of them.
Oh, man. All right. So we've had a long show. This was a fun one. I thought we had a great show. Hope you guys enjoy it and listen and share. And we will see you at the Ocean State Grand Nationals. We will see you at the next VFT. And go check out all of our stuff. And, yeah.
This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you guys next week.